It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to discuss, in my opinion, just my opinion, the pound for pound number one fighter coming to you guys live and direct from Australia. There is no Australian fighter right now greater than him in my eyes, talent-wise, and even with the way he's had performances. Opetaia, the former IBF Cruiserweight champion, because the IBF's on some BS, and the lineal Ring Magazine Cruiserweight champion of the world, the number one Cruiserweight in the world. He had a fight on the Saudi card against none other than Ellis Zorro, and I said in the preview to the fight when I went live, I said, look, if I didn't watch any tape on Ellis Zorro, but I said, look, I looked at his box rec, I saw that he was British. I said, look, if he's got the textbook British style, he's going to get flattened and get ran over like a Mack truck. And that's exactly what happened. Opetaia hit him with the sweeping overhand left and put his lights out, and that was it. That was all she wrote, So thanks for playing, thanks for coming, so long, farewell. Happy trails to Ellis Zorro. You got ran over by the Mack truck that is known as Opetaia. So, he's still a cruiserweight. And even though he doesn't have one of the sanctioning body belts, he's still the man to beat in the division. So the question is going to be, despite the fact that Opetaia doesn't have the IBF title anymore and he's only the lineal champion, will that give the division even more of an excuse to run for him? Because, right now, I'm looking at the landscape of the cruiserweight division, starting with Billam-Smith, who's the WBO champion. He already has his 2024 all the way mapped out. Like, Billam-Smith is more than likely going to do that rematch with Richard Riakporhe next. He just fought Matheus Masternak. He also has rematches with guys like Lawrence Okoli and potentially Isaac Chamberlain that he can go and fight, and they can keep everything in-house. We know that Riakporhe was supposed to fight Opetaia. Ben Shalom pulled him out the purse bid, and that's why the fight didn't happen. And that's why he's fighting a guy like Billam-Smith. So I don't think Billam-Smith is going to be in the cards with Opetaia, even though I like the fight. I think it's a good fight, and I wish I would. To me, really, of the champions, that's the fight I would like to see is Opetaia versus Billam-Smith, because I'm a big Billam-Smith fan. But it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, right? So then you have the WBA champion, Arsene Goulamirian, who's probably one of the most irrelevant champions in boxing. Doesn't fight anybody, doesn't really stay too active. Who knows what's going to happen with that? I wouldn't expect too much with that. And I'm not holding my breath or crossing my fingers when it comes to the prospects of an Opetaia versus Arsene Goulamirian fight, right? And then you look at the WBC champion, newly crowned, Noel McCallion. This is probably the fighter that I feel would definitely be the most likely to fight a guy like Opetaia, because number one, McCallion is not necessarily a young guy. Let me see, what's his age? I know he's not. He's been around for a while, because I remember McCallion was like in his mid or late 20s when he fought Marius Breedis in the World Boxing Super Series. He's 33 years old, so he's not old, but he's not young either. He's at a good age, and he needs to move now. He's the champion, and I think that's a fight that that he'd love to take. I feel like McCallion would fight Opetaia. I don't think he'd win, but he'd fight him. And look, it comes to a point where it's like, and I wanted to talk about this because I think a serious discussion is needed to be had about just how good is Opetaia, because we saw how he won the title against Marius Breedis in a classic fight where he got his jaw broken and still persevered and found a way to win. We saw that. We can look at him now, and quite frankly, when we look at every cruiserweight in the world, not just the champions, but every cruiserweight in the world, it's not hard to see that he's the number one cruiserweight in the world, both accomplishment-wise, but also talent-wise. He's got the boxing skills to beat the smaller guys, the knockout power and the ferociousness to beat up, the bigger guys, So, will this whole situation with the IBF stripping him and him not having a sanctioning body title, is it going to force Opetaia to, move up to heavyweight quicker? Because the goal for Opetaia has been, and it's been talked about a lot more recently, is, will he be a heavyweight sooner rather than later? Because he's going to try to do the Alexander Usyk. He's going to try to, he wanted to go undisputed at cruiserweight, but the landscape and the politics may not allow him to. So will he be a heavyweight? Because I'll tell you guys like this. I said it during the live, when I was live for the Saudi card, and I'll say it right here for you guys. it's very possible that on that card that had so many great talents, guys like Bivol, guys like, Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker and Philip Hergovich and just a whole host of really good, top elite, creme de la creme fighters. I don't think it's far-fetched that Jai Opetaia, you could say, is the most talented fighter on that card, the best fighter on that card. He just needs the fights to prove it, but you look at what he brings to the table, I mean, speed, power, ferociousness, the ability to outbox the smaller guys, the ability to hurt and punch on and really get the attention of the bigger guys. He's a guy that I definitely could peg as someone being a heavyweight, being the heavyweight champion of the world one day. That's kind of how I view him. Obviously, again, the resume, he has Ramirez, who's a great fighter, but he doesn't have the depth and substance of resume. So obviously he's got to get more top opponents. But I mean, look, this prescription, it is getting a little old. I do got to get some new glasses at some point, but it still works. And I know top grade, A-level, creme de la creme talent when I see it, and that he is. So, look, all these guys in the Cruiserweight division, they better nut up and fight Jai Opetaia because nobody is truly the man at Cruiserweight until he's dethroned. So, I know Billam-Smith and Zorro Ramirez, they're going to be fighting for the vacant IBF belt, more than likely. I would like to see, especially if it's Zorro. If Gilberto Zorro Ramirez winds up winning that fight, I would love to see Zorro Ramirez get the opportunity and take on the challenge to fight Jai Opetaia because, you look at Zorro Ramirez's career, he has a lot of wins and beat some decent opponents along the way. But, he's been the first Mexican super middleweight champion. He may just be the first Mexican cruiserweight champion, but his career, for all it's accomplished, it lacks a signature fight. Jai Opetaia, no matter what happens, win or lose, it could be a signature fight for a guy like Zorro Ramirez. So I'm hoping he can win that fight against Breedis, and I hope there's a serious push from Golden Boy Promotions to fight him. So, him, Ryan Ruzicki, gotta show love to Ryan Ruzicki. He's a guy that, I don't even think he cares about being champion. He's kind of he's a bit of a hard ass. He cares more about being a savage than being a champion. He's always talking about the old fighters, like, Jack Dempsey. He was 30 pounds less than guys, and he was knocking them out. He's crazy. He got the tattoos. He looks mad. He looks mad as fuck 24/7. I just had a chance to meet his promoter, Dan Otter from Three Lions Promotions at the WBC convention. When we spoke briefly about Ryan Ruzicki, and I think Ryan Ruzicki is another candidate as a guy that could fight Jai Opetaia. So, I'm looking at Ruzicki, I'm looking at, Zorro Ramirez, hopefully, and just as a long shot, because I think this could be a long shot, because this guy's fought everybody that there is to fight, in the Cruiserweight division, and he'll be fighting for the European title soon, and that's my boy Isaac Chamberlain. Now, truth be told, I love Isaac. Great friend of the channel, one of my, closest friends in boxing. But, shit, he fights Jai Opetaia. I'm going to be a little bit frightened about that fight because Opetaia, he's nothing to play with. So Isaac better continue to make some improvements in the gym if you want to fight him. So I would say, if we're not going to get the champions, those are the three guys I'm looking at in the division that I think realistically could fight Opetaia. Zorro Ramirez if he beats Breedis, Ryan Ruzicki, and quite possibly Isaac Chamberlain, So we'll see how it goes. But I do think a move to heavyweight is coming up soon for Opetaia. And truth be told, the guys like Wilder and Joshua, I think a lot of guys are going to retire. I think when he moves up, mark my words, when Opetaia moves up to heavyweight, a lot of these guys from that previous era, the old guard, are going to start retiring because this is going to be a serious problem for them. This guy's no joke. I'm trying to tell y'all, Jai Opetaia is no joke, but let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think is next for Jai Opetaia? What do you guys think about the three potential opponents of Zorro, Ruzicki, and Isaac Chamberlain? Those are three guys I think could all fight him, but we'll see. If there's anything Jai Opetaia related, leave it down below in the comments. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.